The narcissist will not accept that you don't want them. Imagine this. You've finally mustered the courage to walk away from a toxic relationship with a narcissist. You've said your piece, set boundaries, and made it crystal clear that you no longer want them in your life. But instead of respecting your decision, they double down, bombarding you with messages, guilt-tripping you, or even smearing your reputation to anyone who will listen. It's as if your rejection fuels their obsession rather than quelling it. Why does this happen? What drives a narcissist to refuse to accept that you don't want them, even when you've been explicit about your feelings? If you've ever found yourself caught in this maddening cycle, you're not alone, and there's a reason why it feels so impossible to break free. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the psychology behind this behavior, exploring how narcissists operate, why they can't let go, and what you can do to protect yourself emotionally and mentally. By the end of this discussion, you'll not only understand the mechanics of their mindset, but also gain practical tools to reclaim your peace and autonomy. Before we begin, I want to invite you to join me on this journey of understanding. Whether you're here because you've personally experienced the suffocating grip of a narcissistic relationship, or you're trying to help someone else navigate this maze, this conversation is for you. As a psychologist, I've worked with countless individuals who have faced similar struggles, and I'm here to share insights that are rooted in both research and real-world experience. Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. Why does a narcissist react so intensely when you try to leave them? At its core, this behavior stems from their deeply ingrained fear of abandonment and rejection. Narcissists thrive on external validation. It's the fuel that keeps their fragile ego intact. When you tell them you no longer want them, it isn't just a breakup or a boundary-setting moment. It's a direct threat to their sense of self-worth. To them, your rejection isn't simply about you choosing to move on. It's a reflection of their inadequacy, a reminder that they aren't as perfect or irreplaceable as they believe themselves to be. This triggers an existential crisis within them, one they can't tolerate. Their response? A desperate attempt to regain control over the situation and, by extension, over you. Think about it. How many times have you tried to explain your feelings to a narcissist, only to find yourself caught in a never-ending loop of arguments, manipulation, and emotional blackmail? Every time you assert your independence, they twist your words, gaslight you, or make you feel guilty for daring to prioritize your own well-being. This pattern isn't accidental. It's a calculated strategy designed to weigh you down until you give in. From a psychological perspective, this behavior serves two purposes for the narcissist. First, it distracts them from confronting their own flaws and insecurities. Second, it reinforces their belief that they are entitled to your attention and affection, regardless of your wishes. But here's the kicker. No matter how convincing their tactics may seem, they're ultimately projections of their inner turmoil, not reflections of your reality. Now let's take a closer look at what happens inside a narcissist's mind when they face rejection. Imagine a house built on quicksand. No matter how grand or elaborate the structure appears on the surface, its foundation is inherently unstable. For a narcissist, their identity is that shaky house, precariously balanced on a need for admiration and validation. When you reject them, it's as though an earthquake has struck, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. Unable to process this destabilization, they lash out in an effort to restore equilibrium. They might shower you with affection, promising to change or begging for another chance. Or they might flip the script entirely, accusing you of being cruel, selfish, or ungrateful. Either way, their goal remains the same, to pull you back into their orbit, where they can once again exert control. Have you ever noticed how a narcissist seems incapable of accepting responsibility for their actions, especially during moments of conflict? Instead of acknowledging their role in the breakdown of the relationship, they shift blame onto you or onto external circumstances beyond their control. "You're too sensitive," they might say. Or, "If only you'd communicated better, none of this would have happened." These deflections aren't just attempts to dodge accountability. They are mechanisms designed to preserve their inflated self-image. Admitting fault would require them to confront their imperfections, something they're fundamentally unequipped to do. As a result, they rewrite history, casting themselves as the victim and you as the perpetrator. Understanding this dynamic is crucial because it helps you recognize their manipulations for what they truly are, desperate bids to maintain their illusion of superiority. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Why do narcissists persist in pursuing someone who has already rejected them? After all, wouldn't it be easier to cut their losses and move on? The answer lies in their inability to tolerate loss, or, more specifically, the symbolic meaning of loss. To a narcissist, losing you isn't just about losing a partner, friend, or confidant. It's about losing a source of supply. In their worldview, people exist primarily to serve their needs, whether those needs involve admiration, validation, or utility. When you remove yourself from their life, you disrupt this supply chain, leaving them scrambling to fill the void. Unfortunately, their solution isn't to reflect on their behavior or seek healthier connections. It's to cling to you even harder, hoping to reinstate the dynamic that once benefited them. Let's pause for a moment and consider the toll this takes on you, the person being pursued. How exhausting is it to constantly fend off someone who refuses to respect your boundaries? Each text, call, or unexpected visit feels like a new invasion, chipping away at your resolve and leaving you questioning whether you're the one being unreasonable. Here's the truth: you're not. Narcissists excel at making others doubt themselves, turning simple acts of self-preservation into complex moral dilemmas. Am I being too harsh? You might wonder. Should I give them one more chance? These questions are natural, but they're also part of the narcissist's playbook. By keeping you second-guessing, they keep you engaged, even if that engagement comes at great personal cost. So, what can you do to break free from this cycle? The first step is recognizing that the problem doesn't lie with you, it lies with them. No amount of reasoning, explaining, or compromising will satisfy a narcissist, because their demands are rooted in insatiable insecurity. Trying to appease them is like pouring water into a bottomless bucket. You'll never fill it, no matter how hard you try. Instead, focus on setting firm boundaries and sticking to them. This means limiting contact as much as possible, refusing to engage in arguments or negotiations, and prioritizing your own mental health above all else. Remember, a narcissist thrives on drama and chaos. Denying them access to those elements weakens their hold on you. Speaking of which, let's talk about the power of silence. Have you ever tried ignoring a narcissist's attempts to reel you back in? It's not easy, especially when they escalate their efforts in response. But here's the thing. Silence is one of the most effective tools you have in dismantling their influence. When you stop reacting to their provocations, you strip away their ability to manipulate your emotions. Without an audience, their performances lose their impact, and that's something they cannot tolerate. Sure, they might ramp up their antics in the short term, hoping to provoke a reaction. But over time, consistent silence sends a clear message. You are no longer willing to participate in their games. And trust me, that clarity is invaluable. Of course, implementing this strategy requires patience and resilience. There will be days when their persistence feels overwhelming, when old wounds reopen and doubts creep in. During those moments, remind yourself of why you chose to walk away in the first place. Reflect on the patterns of abuse, manipulation, and disrespect that characterize your relationship with the narcissist. Visualize the future you're working toward, a future free from their toxicity and full of possibilities for growth and happiness. These mental exercises can fortify your resolve, helping you stay grounded even when the narcissist tries to shake your foundation. Now let's address a common misconception, that cutting ties with a narcissist guarantees instant relief. While disengaging is undoubtedly a step in the right direction, healing from the aftermath of such a relationship takes time. Narcissistic abuse often leaves survivors grappling with symptoms of trauma, including anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Rebuilding your sense of self-worth and learning to trust your instincts again is a process, one that may require professional support. Therapy can be an invaluable resource during this stage, providing a safe space to process your experiences and develop coping strategies. As a psychologist, I've seen firsthand how transformative therapy can be for individuals recovering from narcissistic relationships. It offers not only insight, but also empowerment, equipping you with the tools to navigate life post-narcissist with confidence and grace. Let's delve deeper into the concept of healing. One of the most damaging aspects of a relationship with a narcissist is the erosion of your identity. Over time, their constant criticism, invalidation, and projection can leave you feeling unsure of who you are or what you deserve. Breaking free from their influence gives you the opportunity to rediscover yourself, to reconnect with your values, passions, and dreams. Start small by engaging in activities that bring you joy or exploring hobbies you may have neglected while entangled with the narcissist. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family members who uplift and encourage you. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how minor it may seem. Healing isn't linear, but each step forward brings you closer to reclaiming your authentic self. Here's a thought-provoking idea. What if the narcissist's refusal to accept your rejection actually holds a silver lining? Consider this. Their inability to let go forces you to confront your boundaries head-on, strengthening your resolve and teaching you valuable lessons about self-respect. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice saying no firmly and unapologetically. Each boundary you enforce reinforces your autonomy, proving to yourself that you are capable of standing up for your needs. In a twisted way, the narcissist's persistence can catalyze your growth if you allow it to. Rather than viewing their behavior as a source of frustration, reframe it as evidence of your strength and determination to live authentically. Let's shift gears for a moment and examine the societal factors that enable narcissistic behavior. Our culture often glorifies traits associated with narcissism, confidence, ambition, charisma, without examining the darker side of these qualities. Social media amplifies this dynamic, creating platforms where individuals can curate idealized versions of themselves and seek endless validation through likes, comments, and followers. For someone predisposed to narcissism, this environment provides fertile ground for their tendencies to flourish. Understanding this context is important because it highlights the systemic nature of the issue. While you can't change society overnight, you can arm yourself with awareness, recognizing the signs of narcissistic behavior before becoming entangled in it. Speaking of signs, let's talk about red flags. Early in a relationship, a narcissist may come across as charming, attentive, and irresistible. They'll shower you with compliments, gifts, and declarations of love, sweeping you off your feet in what's known as the love bombing phase. While this whirlwind romance might feel intoxicating at first, it's often a precursor to more troubling behaviors down the line. Pay attention to inconsistencies in their words and actions, their tendency to dominate conversations, or their lack of empathy for others. These subtle cues can alert you to potential issues before they escalate into full-blown toxicity. Knowledge is power, and identifying red flags early can save you from unnecessary heartache. Now, let's circle back to the question of karma. Many survivors of narcissistic relationships find comfort in the idea that justice will eventually catch up with their abuser. While karma isn't a tangible force, per se, it operates on the principle that actions have consequences. A narcissist's relentless pursuit of control, admiration, and validation inevitably alienates those around them, leading to fractured relationships, damaged reputations, and professional setbacks. Over time, their web of deceit unravels, exposing their true nature to the world. Watching this unfold can be incredibly validating, serving as a reminder that fairness prevails in the long run, even if it doesn't always feel that way in the moment. But here's the thing. Waiting for karma to deliver justice shouldn't be your primary focus. Your energy is better spent cultivating a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Focus on building meaningful connections with people who genuinely appreciate and respect you. Pursue goals that ignite your passion and bring you fulfillment. Nurture your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. By investing in yourself, you create a life so rich and rewarding that the narcissist fades into irrelevance. And isn't that the ultimate form of revenge, not stooping to their level, but rising above it? Let's touch on the importance of community. Healing from a narcissistic relationship can feel isolating, particularly if the narcissist succeeded in turning mutual friends or family members against you. Finding a supportive network of individuals who understand your experience can make all the difference. Online forums, support groups, and counseling services offer spaces where you can share your story without judgment, receive advice from others who've walked a similar path, and celebrate victories big and small. Knowing you're not alone in your journey can provide immense comfort and motivation to keep moving forward. Have you ever wondered why narcissists struggle to form genuine connections? Despite their outward charm and charisma, they lack the emotional depth required to sustain meaningful relationships. Their interactions are transactional, driven by a desire to extract value rather than foster mutual growth. Friends become pawns, partners become trophies, and colleagues become stepping stones, all disposable once they've served their purpose. This inability to connect authentically ensures that narcissists remain perpetually isolated, even amidst crowds of admirers. It's a tragic irony, really. The very traits that enable their rise to power ultimately condemn them to loneliness. Let's pause and reflect on forgiveness. While holding on to anger and resentment toward a narcissist might feel justified, it ultimately harms you more than them. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing their behavior or absolving them of responsibility. It means releasing the burden of carrying their pain. When you forgive, you free yourself from the emotional weight of the past, opening the door to healing and renewal. Karma handles the rest, ensuring that the narcissist faces the consequences of their actions, while you embrace the future with renewed hope and optimism. Letting go isn't easy, but it's worth it for your peace of mind and your overall well-being. Now, imagine this scenario. Years down the road, you encounter your ex-narcissist, or hear about them through mutual acquaintances. Instead of bitterness or regret, you feel a profound sense of calm knowing that you survived their toxicity and emerged stronger on the other side. Perhaps they've lost their job due to unethical practices, struggled to maintain meaningful relationships, or faced public humiliation after their lies caught up with them. Whatever the outcome, you realize that their struggles stem directly from the seeds they planted long ago. Meanwhile, you've grown into a wiser, more resilient version of yourself, surrounded by people who genuinely cherish and support you. Doesn't that realization make all the pain and heartache worth it? Let's talk about legacy. When all is said and done, what kind of mark do narcissists leave on the world? More often than not, their impact is fleeting, a series of broken relationships, tarnished reputations, and missed opportunities. Contrast that with the lasting impression made by those who choose kindness, integrity, and compassion. Your journey of healing and growth inspires others to follow suit, creating a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Karma rewards these contributions, amplifying their reach and ensuring that your light continues to shine long after the narcissist's shadow fades. At this point, you might be wondering how to protect yourself from falling into similar patterns in the future. The key lies in developing strong self-awareness and healthy boundaries. Learn to recognize the warning signs of narcissistic behavior early on, and trust your instincts if something feels off. Prioritize relationships that are reciprocal and respectful, where both parties contribute equally to the connection. Practice asserting your needs clearly and confidently, without fear of backlash or rejection. Building these skills takes time, but they form the foundation of a fulfilling and drama-free life. Let's close with a final thought. Healing from a relationship with a narcissist is not just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about transforming pain into wisdom, adversity into strength, and loss into opportunity. You've already taken the first step by seeking understanding and arming yourself with knowledge. Now it's time to put that knowledge into action, creating a life that reflects your true worth and potential. Remember, you are not defined by the toxicity you endured. You are defined by the resilience you demonstrated in overcoming it. Thank you for joining me today and taking the time to explore this critical topic. If you found this discussion helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content with others who might benefit from it. Your support helps us reach more people and build a community dedicated to healing, growth, and empowerment. Don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, experiences, and any questions you might have. Until next time, take care of yourself, honor your journey, and trust that you are capable of incredible things. You've got this.